I would say it is just me as a person. It's my character, it's my personality. I always choose to rise above things, always give everything 110%, always approach things with a positive mindset, always be enthusiastic. I think enthusiasm is so important, especially as a junior. You've graduated, this is you beginning your journey. This is you finally starting your career. All those years of hard work, you can finally apply all of that to the real life industry. Show that enthusiasm, show how much this means to you, show them what it is that you've got. When you put that across, that is what's going to really get you far. If you're a junior and you're like, yes, I want this, but you're not showing them that enthusiasm, the energy, the keen and willingness to learn, I think that's really important. I think one thing within this industry, your reputation gets you very far. I didn't realise until I started how close-knit the design industry is. Everybody knows each other. Your attitude is important just as much as your talent.
Well, thank you everybody. Welcome to another episode of Space by Stansons. Today I'm talking to my youngest ever guest, and there's a massive reason behind it. Ezgi has, I have pronounced your name right, haven't I?
Yeah, Ezgi, that's spot on.
Perfect. She was telling me about her story, about how she got into work, like into interior design through the whole internship and junior design thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, like, I just need to hear this story. And it's so often glamorized. And then you're
Absolutely.
now at Corgan.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, there's design managers out there hiring people, or any senior people hiring people. And then it's like, sit up and listen, because this is what young people are going through, and like to expect them to go through this, and then the pressure on them when they're in work, expecting them to perform their mental health and physically and mentally, it's a big deal. And then also any junior designers, people looking to come into design, if you're having a tough time, just breathe and be kind to yourself, because this is Ezgi's story, and I personally was quite mind blown. So anyway, welcome, Ezgi.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and it's definitely an interesting topic, and I feel like it's something that's not often spoken about. It's almost kind of forbidden. I feel like it is very glamorized, like you said. Everyone's very quick to say, yeah, I've landed my dream job. But what I'm really keen and interesting, and what I really want to know, is how you got there. What was the ugly parts? What did it take for you to land there? And often I get a lot of juniors message me on LinkedIn, and I remember exactly what that felt like. And I ended up making spreadsheets of all my job applications, people I reached out to. And if I told you only the handful of replies that I got, it was absolutely shocking, because sometimes all we want is just a bit of advice, a bit of guidance. We just want a bit of direction. And of course, we're going to reach out to people working within the industry. There's only so much, that you learn at university, and you just want a bit of that first-hand experience, some advice. So that's what I really want to, that's what I'm really excited about being here today. I really want to get that word out. And, even at the end of this, if there's anyone that wants to reach out to me as well, I will always be there, and I will help you wherever I can.
You're so generous, and it really, really comes across. I really appreciate. It's such a lovely
Thank you.
energy, such a lovely disposition. So
Yeah.
Thank you. So kicking off your story, what made you want to go into interior design that way before you even studied it? Was it like, what did that look like?
Oh, this is taking me back now. During university, so I unfortunately was studying during the whole lockdown. And I remember during my second year, I was doing my research into different sectors, and I thought, right, there's residential, there's workplace, there's hospitality, and there's so many different sectors. And sometimes not all universities even touch base on all of these sectors as well. So I said to myself, what are we going to do after graduating? What's going to be the most important thing? I did do internships during university as well. And then I stumbled across workplace. So during COVID, I started seeing all these social media posts about the challenges that office design is going to face when trying to get people to come back into the office. How can we get collaboration and interaction back on the table? And I thought, right, this is really interesting. It's not just about putting a breakout space there, a kitchen there, a desk there. There's so much more to it. And it's an amazing industry, and I couldn't recommend it enough. So I kind of fell down that rabbit hole and I never came out, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And then after graduating, I remember how excited I felt to just really, really get out there. I had that degree in my hand and I thought, that's it, there's nothing stopping me now. I'm going to get myself out there. And the first thing I did was I started straight away applying for jobs. So I made myself my spreadsheets, I started doing interviews. And then that's when the challenge of the lack of industry standard experience presented itself. And I thought, oh my God, why is no one talking about this? Is this actually a common thing, or is this just happening to me? And I started reaching out to people and they said, yeah, I actually graduated 3 years ago and I'm still looking for a junior role. And I thought, oh my God, like, is this what I've actually got myself into? Is this the challenge that I'm facing? I thought, we're going to rise above it and we're going to find a way around this. So I always approach things with positivity and I try to be as optimistic as I can always. That's the only way to be. And I started applying, getting my interviews, and it was the same feedback, lack of industry standard experience. And I thought, right, I feel stuck. And there's only so many times that young designers, juniors, anyone with any particular job really, there's only so many times you can be told you don't have the skill set, you don't have the experience. You end up slowly believing and giving in. And it would shock you the amount of people I've spoken to where they've switched career paths, or I've had even different suppliers coming in saying, how did you get your job here? Because I studied interior design 5 years ago and I ended up switching career paths because it was something I couldn't get into. And they said it's a part of my life I really regret not pursuing. So it just kind of made me think this is probably something that's been going on for a long time, just no one really wants to speak about it. After going through all of that and all the constant same feedback, I thought, right, I'm going to stop applying and I'm going to focus my time and energy on internships. And finding those is a full-time job in itself. It's so hard because, you know, you need to be assigned a mentor, there's project deadlines. So finding someone and finding the company is really, really difficult. And most of the time, finding ones for like a long duration, like maybe a couple of months to a year, is very, very difficult. I put all my time and energy to that. I really utilize LinkedIn. I cannot stress enough how amazing LinkedIn is to connect with people that share the same interests as you, reaching out for advice, that sort of thing. I reached out to a lot of people and I managed to get quite a few internships during that year. And I'm very, very proud of that as well because...
Who was that with?
Some was with some high-end luxury retail brands, some workplace and some residential as well. And it's quite crazy because one actually said no to me, but I managed to turn no's into yeses. I think you just need to, yeah, you just need to, you know, you need to get your character across. So this one luxury retail brand, I reached out to them and I said, you know, I would really love to come and do an internship with you guys. And they said, we don't have juniors, it's only seniors and above. Like, it's a strictly no, we won't even have juniors in the office. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to take this into my own hands and I'm going to see what I can do. And I took one of their perfumes as inspiration and I designed a whole retail store with a pop-up, a concept, everything. I sent it to them and they were so impressed. They said, we need you to come down and present this to the team. We'll allow this the one time. And I went down there, I presented and they said, how have you, like, you can't be struggling, Ezgi, because we can see everything here in front of us. Like, you clearly know what you're doing. And I'm like, it's just the matter of building this up even more, building up my experience more. And I had that with other brands, workplace companies, all of this stuff.
So this is unpaid?
This is all unpaid.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, so, and I was lucky enough that I'm in a position where I can do that. I don't have any of those responsibilities, and the knowledge that I was going to get from that was far more valuable to me than anything. But there's some people where they can't afford to do that, and it is unfortunate. And then after that, after building up all my experience through all those internships and getting that work into my portfolio, I started getting more of those interviews, and everyone found it really impressive how I managed to do all of that during the year and just really put myself out there. I landed my job at Corgan as interior design project specialist, and it's been amazing ever since. So Corgan is an architectural and design company. It's been around for 87 years. It started in 1938.
You've got these numbers in your head,
yeah, it's funny actually, because people say you sound like you've been there for like 20 years more. Their headquarters is in Dallas, which is really cool. They've got 19 offices in different locations, US, Dublin, Singapore, London, of course. Sectors in aviation, workplace, healthcare, education, data centres, pretty much the full works, which is really, really cool. We've got our head of interiors, which is Dua. She's absolutely amazing. She's a great, great mentor, and I can't stress enough how important it is to have, you know, a good role model, a good mentor.
Yeah.
And she's amazing at what she does, and she's a great female leader in the corporate interior sector in general. So it's been amazing ever since. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I'm going to grow even more over the years.
But you have got there now, which is
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. But
Thank you.
How long was that period of graduating, fighting for interviews, fighting for internships, unpaid, and then getting that job at Corgan? What was that time frame?
I would say a year. Yeah. I would say around roughly a year it took me. It could have took longer, but I made it my mission, and I put 110% of my time and energy to finding these internships and doing all the work that I did.
Yeah.
It's quite controversial actually, because a lot of people, I remember I got one piece of feedback, which, you know, some people agree, some disagree. And I had one person say, do as much unpaid work as you can, because it stands out. And then I had someone say, actually, no, that's not how it should be. Juniors shouldn't be offering to do unpaid work to be noticed. And I have juniors reach out to me all the time saying, do I actually need to do this much in order to be noticed? And it is difficult. And I always say, you know, if I could go back in time and give myself one piece of advice, it's just be patient, be confident. And if you don't ask, you don't get. I cannot stress that enough. It's so incredibly important. Just, you know, put yourself in those.
Great message.
Yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get. Exactly that. And I remember, you know, a few years ago, I would always kind of shy away. And I think, no, you know, I want this and I deserve this. And I know I have the skill set and I know I can do this. And it was that really pushed me and kept me motivated. I didn't let any of the feedback put me down in any way. I took that as feedback, but as a tool to, you know, refine my work more. How could I, you know, make it better? But I never ever let it, you know, question myself or my skill set ever. And I think that's what juniors need to remember, that it doesn't define you as a person.
Yeah.
And that you will get there 100%.
What's the worst bit of feedback you got?
To remove all my university work from my portfolio. So I had one, this was during one of my interviews, and they just straight up said, we are just looking for someone with a bit more experience. And I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, this was for an entry-level position, right? And they said, yeah, we're just looking for someone with, you know, 2 years experience. And I thought, right, so you're not looking for a junior then, are you? You're not looking for an entry level. And they said, and do you have any industry standard work to show us? And I thought, no, I've literally just graduated 2 months ago. I'm not going to have any industry standard experience up my sleeve or any work. And they said, you know, one piece of advice, I would think about removing all the university work and concentrate on filling up your portfolio with industry standard work. And that definitely made me feel deflated, because I thought all these years of hard work and grafting to perfect my designs. And at the end of the day, as a junior, that portfolio, that is the first, you know, reflection of who you are as a person. It's a journey, it's a story.
Yeah, I agree
and
with
to
you.
be told, remove it because it's not up to standards, it does make you feel deflated. And I thought, do you know what? No, I'm going to leave that there, and I will do whatever it takes to build up my experience elsewhere. But you're always going to get these sorts of feedback. Just don't take it to heart. I feel like in this industry, you definitely need thick skin, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to just take whatever is given to you. So some will say, you know, whatever is offered to you, just take it. It's really important. I can't stress enough to join a firm that has a good support community group. Corgan definitely has that. We do these like reflections and feedbacks regularly. I think firms, and I don't have enough fingers to count how many times I've heard this, we need someone to hit the ground running. Oh. And it just makes me think, well, it's extremely unfair, because they say it's entry level, but really it's not entry level, and we need to redefine the word to actually mean entry level. So they say we want you to hit the ground running, but then it kind of makes me think, but where's the support? I think they see a mentor or training as losing time, resources, money. Mm-hmm. They don't have the time to do that. And it just makes me think then, you know, you need to just hire people with that experience. And if you are looking for a junior, then you need to make the time to, you know, sit down, train them and show them those things.
I think that's a massive point, and I think everybody needs to like sit up here, because we advertise a job as entry, junior level. We probably put the salary as what an intern should be, and then we're asking for like 2 years of experience or 3 years. And that's that common meme, isn't it? It's like that joke amongst recruitment. And you've actually like experienced that firsthand, which is a bit, a kick in the stomach, if you like.
Yes.
But fast forward like 2 years, I'm reckoning you're going to be hiring people.
Oh, thank you.
How would you approach it? Because you're going to get swamped. Like you're really open, your energy's wicked. Even just after this podcast, I reckon you're going to get like people coming to you, Ezgi, how to do this, how to do that. And you're going to have a lot on.
Yeah.
You're going to be busy from work. You're going to be delivering in your role for Corgan or whoever you're delivering for. And you're going to be smashing your like personal career, like visualize that. And then you're going to have all of these people that's swarming to you because you're warm, you've got a great energy. And you could just max out, and you need to look after yourself and not just necessarily the company and all these people.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna, have you any thoughts about how you want to be as a manager, as somebody hiring? Have you had any thoughts about that from your
that's
experience?
really interesting, actually. I've never really thought about it, but if I was hiring, I feel like I would really think deep into what that person's kind of been through, what they've done in their spare time. I've often experienced in my interviews, you know, they just want to cut to the end and say, right, what is your experience? Let me see some industry standard work. I feel like I would really take the time to, you know, figure out what that person has been up to since graduating. And I remember during my interview with Corgan, they were really invested in getting to know me as a person, not only my skill set, but the person that they would potentially be letting into their family. And at Corgan, everyone is quite a close-knit family anyways. And you spend more time with these people than your own family at home. So I feel like I would really like to do the same. I'd like to get to know them, you know, a bit more personally, what kind of person they are, and what they would bring to the table other than just, you know, their skill set, what they were up to, you know, maybe there's certain things that they liked doing in their own time. And that was what Corgan, you know, really did with me. They got to know what I did after graduating. And I remember them saying, it's so amazing that you did all of this after graduating, and organising and getting all of this done is extremely hard as it is. And, you know, they recognise that, and I want to be able to recognise that in people as well, for sure.
No, good point. And would you do unpaid internships, or would you pay them?
Yes, I would absolutely pay them. I've had companies say that they were going to pay me and they didn't.
No.
Yes, and at the end of it,
How many times that happened?
I would say, I think 2 times now. 2 times. And at the end of it, I thought, you know what? It's fine. I've taken away so much knowledge away from this, and that is far more value to me than anything. But even things like your travel, things like that, I feel like those should be covered. And if you are doing, you know, a 9 to 5, a 9 to 6, whatever it is, and you're doing these site visits and you're paying that out of your own pocket, it is of course very unfair. Not everyone can be in that position. You know, I've met people where they're trying to, you know, they've got things to pay, you know, whether it's rent or whatever it is, and they're also trying to balance a job and do an internship at the same time. And it's like you can't cut yourself into 50 different people. It's really difficult. But I would absolutely do paid internships. I think it's not fair at all.
No, good for you. Well done. And another thing, I'm picking up through all of this, Ezgi, and you probably have heard it loads, but your energy or your mindset, you're so resilient, you're so positive.
Thank you.
And you're so like unsuppressible. You just bounce back. I can just see someone like giving you some negative feedback and you're like, I don't care, I'm carrying on.
Yeah.
It's absolute wicked mindset, and it's so powerful, it's so strong, and it's so like, it's infectious. I'm picking it up here.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, like she's just like da-da-da-da, like it's wicked. But how have you got that? Would you say it's a personality trait, or do you have a mentor? Do you do visualization? Like, how do you maintain that? Like for anybody out there, like, there's tough times out there. Like,
Yeah.
can we have a bit of some of the tips and tricks that you keep? So a bit of Ezgi, how do we get that?
I would say it is just me as a person. It's my character, it's my personality. I always choose to rise above things, always give everything 110%, always approach things with a positive mindset, always be enthusiastic. I think enthusiasm is so important, especially as a junior. You know, you've graduated, this is you beginning your journey, this is you finally starting your career, all those years of hard work, you can finally apply all of that to the real life industry. Show that enthusiasm, show how much this means to you, show them what it is that you've got. When you put that across, that is what's going to really, really get you far. If you're a junior and you're like, yes, you know, I want this, but you're not showing them that enthusiasm, the energy, you know, the keen and willingness to learn, I think that's really, really important. I think one thing within this industry, you know, your reputation gets you very, very far. I didn't realise until I started how close-knit the design industry is. Everybody knows each other. Your reputation will really get you far. Your attitude is important just as much as your talent. I think that is incredibly important.
Agree with you.
And, you know, and just your skill set. I think being fluent in all your technical skills is really important as well. Just whatever skills you have, master them, you know, just make them even better than they already are. And just always be yourself, be your true organic self, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, it's great advice, because I do think that if you've got that attitude and how you've managed to maintain that and secure that, I think that's what's got you where you are. And it's like, and it's even just chatting to you before, I was like, I want that on the podcast. I want people to hear that. And because I agree with like giving young people like an opportunity, giving them a leg up. I remember when I needed that, I was very underconfident and I needed that like leg up all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive believer in that, and that you've kind of fought through that, and then you've got there. So yeah, it's just great to hear. I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, if there's anyone out there that just feels stuck, just remember you're not alone. There is so many other juniors that are going through this same thing. So I like to do regular calls with, you know, different graduates. So I had a call a few weeks ago with a young lady, and she just said to me, I graduated a year ago and I still can't find anything. Why? Can you please look through my CV and my portfolio? I think one thing as well that I would like to touch on is portfolios are very important. It represents you as a person, your journey, your skills, but don't feel pressured to fill it to the top. I think some juniors get intimidated by white space. Let the work speak for itself. You don't need 50 pages of tons and tons of projects. You can have, you know, 4 to 5 really strong projects and let the work speak for itself. I think a lot of juniors just put pressures on them, like a lot of pressure on themselves, or they think because they're a junior, they can't really speak up and there's only so much they can do. That's absolutely not true. If you don't ask, you don't get. And that's one thing that I learned the hard way. And I think if you stay silent and you don't speak up, you will be overlooked. So do everything you can to stand out always. And if you think about it, you put out an application, and this is true, you get like 1,000 applicants overnight. And you just need to think, what's going to make me stand out from those other 999 applicants? You know, what makes me different? What makes me more unique? And that was what really, you know, drove me to doing everything I could that year. And it absolutely paid off. And if I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing. I absolutely wouldn't change a thing. And I feel like it's really shaped me more as a person. I learned even more about myself and how strong I am and how patient I am as well. And it just taught me that absolutely I can do this. And so can everyone else.
Yeah, I do think you should be flipping proud of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Really should. Talking about portfolios though, because you mentioned it's important. What did you use to design it? I imagine I'm just coming out of university. I'm creating a portfolio. Ezgi, like, what shall I do? What shall I use to design it? How shall I send it over? Is it just a PDF on email? Like, talk to me about that. What's the best way to send that?
So I did mine on InDesign. Usually the most common way is through InDesign. I would say that structurally laying it out is the most important thing. A lot of juniors feel pressured that you need to have, you know, a strong one here or a strong one there. Your portfolio should be finishing strong, starting strong, from beginning to end always. I would say showcasing your best work, the ones that you're most proud of. And often, sometimes, I mean, this is optional. Some would even include, you know, maybe like a first page where they're kind of introducing themselves. You might say, hi, you know, I'm da-da, I like to do this. This is a bit about me. This is where I graduated, about my portfolio, and that's it. You can do things like that. I think people think there's only one way of having a portfolio, but there absolutely isn't. That portfolio represents you as a person. There's no right or wrong way. You know, someone might look at my portfolio and think, oh, you know, that's not really me. I don't like it. But then someone else might look at it and think, that's a bit of me. I quite like this. She's done this differently. This stands out. Just making that portfolio unique to you so it reflects you as a person. Then that's it. You don't want to go into an interview and, you know, present a portfolio that doesn't represent you or reflect you as a person. You know, it's like an identity almost. So I think just making sure that that sticks to you, that's what's the most important.
Yeah, no, that's great. And was there a time in your, like, from ever to now that you think, like, I have made it? Like, gosh, I've done it.
So before my interview with Corgan, I had a few before and I all got yeses from all of those. And I thought, do you know what? I've actually got quite a few options on my hand. I thought, this is where, you know, I've made it. And as soon as I started at Corgan, I felt like I hit the jackpot genuinely, because it's such an amazing firm with an amazing group of talented people as well. But this is where I thought, yes, I made it. And even through those internships where I turned no's to yeses, sending my work over, the way I got to do those internships, how I got them, even through all of that, I thought I have got what it takes and I can do it, just through all of that, really.
Yeah. No, that's such a powerful message. It's so good to know, like, and celebrate, I guess, the small wins throughout.
Celebrate the small wins and, you know, shout it out, post it. You know, some might think, oh, this is a small thing, it's not worth, you know, sharing or posting. Absolutely not. Share every single win, always.
If you were to go to a university to do a talk, which I probably sure you will one day, to a group, to a class that is graduating, what is the top 3 things you'd say to them?
I would say, always be yourself and be confident. I would, because that is something that I wish someone would say to me. I would shy away from things quite a lot. It's funny because when I say that now, they're like, what, really? And I was like, yes, I was like that once upon a time. Just be confident, be yourself. I would say it is worth doing those internships. So often I say, you know, during university, you get really long summers, you get like 4 months or, you know, holiday. 1 month, 2 months, dedicate that to getting, you know, that first-hand experience. And the reason why I say this is because you get to actually sit down, ask these questions. You get to sit with different designers and say, can you have a look at my portfolio? Can you look at my CV? They can look through that with you, give you advice. And if there's a particular sector that you're interested in as well, you can dedicate your time into finding an internship within that. And that was what really helped me a lot. I would say being confident, dedicating time into finding some internships, because that will immediately stand out on your application, because they kind of look and think, right, this person's had the initiative to really put themselves out there and they've gone and done, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I would say those 2 are the most important. And the third, I would say maybe any hobbies and stuff. I like talking about things that I like doing in my own time. So I like doing pottery, creative things. I like to mention that because I like to get my character across quite a lot. At the end of the day, this is someone that is going to, you know, potentially hire you, and I will do everything I can to kind of get my character across as well.
Yeah, oh, that's great advice. And if you were doing a talk as a junior designer to a room full of design directors, like, hey, this is 3 things I want you to consider when you're hiring juniors, what would you say to them?
Oh, there's a lot I would like to say. I would say, firstly,
straight from the hip.
Firstly, is this entry level? Is it actually a junior role? I would say, you know, be kind and give them a chance. I would say, what support system do you guys actually have here that's going to help them grow? I think because firms are so focused on hiring people to just kind of hit the ground running, they don't have a good support network. So I would say, what is it what in terms of support, what is it that you're offering that's going to help these juniors grow? Are they actually going to be mentored? Are you actually going to sit down and teach them things? I think support would be the first thing I would bring up, genuinely. In terms of support, what is it that you guys are offering? At the end of the day, when you join a firm as a junior, you want to know that you're in safe hands. You want to know that you're actually going to grow here professionally as well as personally. Are they actually going to help you get to where you want to? I remember being like, as soon as I started Corgan, I was told, we're going to help you reach the top. And when they said that, it's still with me to this day. That gave me the utmost confidence that I've actually joined the right firm. And that's exactly what other firms need to be doing. They need to give you that reassurance that even though you're going to be, we're going to be working on all this stuff, we're also going to be working on you personally as well. We are going to help you get to the top.
Amazing. Oh, that's great. A support system.
Absolutely.
Check it's actually a genuinely entry-level role, and if it's not,
and you're just not being thrown into the deep end. And is it like it's like a sink and swim type thing? Are you going to sink? Are you going to swim? And it is difficult. I feel like that's kind of when this whole catch-22 comes into play. You can't get the job without the experience, but you need to be offered these jobs to start building up the experience. It's like a cycle that juniors are trying to get out of. And you will get out of it. You absolutely will. You just need to keep patient, put yourself out there, do those internships, I would say, and immediately you're going to start building up that confidence as well as, your skills and everything else.
You have displayed like incredible resilience, but was there a time when you thought, I've done the wrong thing? Like, this is just...
There was times during my internships where I thought, is this actually the only way that juniors can get jobs? Is this what we all have to kind of go through? But towards the end of it, I thought I've absolutely done the right thing. I know I've done the right thing, and because it's helped me grow in all sorts of ways, it's helped me learn a lot more things about myself. But it is difficult because when I had calls with different graduates, they would say, do I actually have to do all of this to be noticed? And we all get to the same destination, just our journeys are all different. I know people that have started off with a year-long placement and, the company loved them so much they want to keep them. Or sometimes it's through, a personal connection. You've got someone advocating for you. There's so many ways of landing jobs these days, but this was what worked for me. And I feel like for juniors, it is really important to just put yourself out there.
Yeah, you have mentioned a bit actually in this chat that internships really helped you grow as a person, discover yourself. What, just personally for you, can I ask, what did you learn? What did you find out about yourself? What was it that you didn't know before that you knew after doing the internships? Can I have some examples?
This is really good actually, because I was having this conversation the other day with someone and I said to them, in university, they really emphasize on conceptual designs. You can be as crazy, as experimental, as conceptual as you want, to the point where sometimes it can be a bit unrealistic. Whereas when you actually join these internships and you're put on these live projects and you learn about, the actual design stages, client briefs, client requirements, budgets, all of this stuff, site visits, these are the realities of the actual industry. Whereas in university, it is all very conceptual. You get to go and pick your own site and it could be, as crazy as you want it to be. So in these internships, it really makes you realize, actually in real life, this is what a project is actually like. These are the requirements, these are the limits. In university, there is no limits. You can go as crazy as you want. There's no budget. There's none of that stuff. So internships was what really made me realize, actually, in reality, if you was to do that, it wouldn't work. So the practicality really comes through during the internships for sure.
That's interesting. Do you think the university is missing a trick there? If you were to design a course, what would you do differently?
I would actually give more specific briefs. So there might, often universities will say the theme or, the topic is sustainability. And you can design whatever project you want. It could be a retail, residential, anything you want, as long as it, circulates the topic of sustainability. But I think what they need to do is, if they're giving briefs to students, they need to say, right, this is the brief, this is the client, investigate the client, because realistically, that is what you would do. This is the budget, this is the types of materials that you're going to think of using, and you're going to go into more, I would say, more detail and more specific requirements And that is what they should be doing. They should be introducing briefs where this is what we need to be focusing on, and this is the outcome, this is what they want. Even having meetings where you could maybe potentially even meet with these people and you can ask them questions, you can have these meetings. I think things like that is really, really important.
I think if any university people are listening to this, they need to get you on to help the designer course. Okay, that is it's so interesting though. And yeah, even if someone is doing a university course, they can maybe just think about that as well.
Absolutely.
And it's helps you stand out because you've applied a different angle to your portfolio, like you've said, really. So that is great. Okay, Ezgi, I've got one last question for you.
Go for it.
What is a podcast or a book that you have listened to that's really helped you in your mindset and that you would recommend other people listen to?
I have read a book recently where it's called Good Vibes. I think Good Vibes, Good something else, something like that. I read that quite a while ago now, but I often highlight certain quotes and things in there, and I keep it by my bed, and I flick through it time to time. It's just about being your authentic self. It's about believing you can do things and, shutting out any negativity or, blocking out what people may potentially think of you and just sticking to your guns, believe in yourself, and that's it. And I think that's what juniors need to do more, is to just believe in themselves. It's very easy to become deflated, and when you're constantly told the same thing, you don't have a skill set, you're not cut out for this. You've got people changing career paths because of that. So I think, do things that make you feel good, whether it is books and podcasts or whatever it is, just do things that make you feel good and stick to it. Don't give up. You guys will get there.
Good Vibes. I mean, that is just you would read that book, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I've
Good
never even
vibes
heard of it.
Go away.
I've never even heard of the book before, but if I was just to make up, Ezgi's read this book, like just guess the title, it'd be like Good Vibes.
Yeah, Good Vibes. That's it.
With that. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's gone so quickly.
I know. I've really enjoyed myself. And do you know what? I feel like it's such a forbidden topic almost. I feel like not enough people talk about this, and it's so glamorized sometimes. People are very quick to say, I've landed my dream job, but how did you get there? What did it take to get there is what's really interesting to me always. So I'm really glad we got to talk about this.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I always forget to say this, but if you do follow the show, you enjoyed the chat with Ezgi, please give us a follow or rating, because the whole algorithm thing, he does its thing, which I don't even know what it is, but that's what you have to do, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So yeah, a rating and a follow would be amazing. Thank you guys, and see you soon.
Thank you.